How can I ask my girlfriend to less controlling? She doesn't let me watch inappropriate movies or meet female co-workers. I really don't want to break up with my girlfriend. But her rules are really starting to get to me. A lot of the time I don't even know of a rule, and she'll blow up on me because I should know better since we've been dating for 2 years. It seems like it's getting worse and I'm not sure what to do. I watched Oppenheimer by myself a few weeks ago, and she told me the night before she wasn't comfortable with the fact that it has nudity. This hasn't really come up before, so I offered to not watch it, but she said as long as I don't look, it's fine. The next day when I watch it, the nudity came out of nowhere, and instead of closing my eyes, I looked away so that I knew when to look back. If I closed my eyes, I wouldn't know if the scene was over. It was 70mm IMAX, so the screen was massive and it was impossible not to have some sense of what was going on. After the movie, she asked me how bad it was, and I just described the scenes as they happened. She got furious and said that means I watched it? I tried explaining I didn't and that I looked away. She said she knew I was lying and that if I actually cared about her, I wouldn't care about missing the movie and would have closed my eyes for as long as needed. She didn't speak to me for over a day and said she was disgusted with me. She eventually asked for a break and for no contact. I felt so trapped, and knew in my heart that we're adults and that she's being unreasonable, but I wouldn't dare say that to her or else she'll get even angrier. During no contact, a close friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while asked if we could watch the movie together. I don't have any friends outside of him. I felt lonely given the break, and it's really hard for us to find a time to hang out. For whatever reason, I thought given I know when the scenes occur, I would know when to close my eyes, and hence it'll be okay if I watch the movie, since her issue was the nudity. Hence I went with him. In hindsight, I realize this was extremely dumb of me, and I deeply regret what I did. 20 minutes before the movie, she breaks no contact and messages me about needing my help with something. I tell her I can absolutely help her, and that I'm just headed to the movie to watch Oppenheimer with my friend. I only told her because I genuinely didn't think it would be an issue. But she immediately called me and blew up on me, borderline screaming. I tried telling her that I planned on closing my eyes. My friend awkwardly stood there watching us. I eventually sent him to watch the movie alone when it started while I was still on the call. She told me how what I did is the equivalent of cheating on her, that I betrayed her, that she could never trust me again, etc. I did everything I could to apologize. She ended up breaking up with me over the call. She ended up closing the call and blocked me. I ended up missing most of the movie trying to apologize to her, but nothing worked. I sat in the movie near the end. My friend was extremely annoyed, and I apologized as much as I could to him. 2 months before this incident, I happened to schedule a meeting with a female co-worker. I work in a job where I have anywhere from 5 to 10 meetings a day. On this particular day, my girlfriend happened to have an event near my office, so I offered to drive her on the way to work. She knows I only go to the office when I have in-person meetings, so she asked who I'm meeting. I didn't know my calendar off the top of my head, so I mentioned one meeting I remember, meeting a female co-worker who is the same age as me. She immediately blew up on me, asking me why I didn't ask for her permission and notify her. I told her I didn't know I'm supposed to ask her for permission, since I have countless meetings every day and it was 100% work related. I then told her that I actually have more in-person meetings that day, that I'm not just going to the office for her. She was upset with me for several hours and kept blowing up on me, and I eventually had to cancel the meeting with the coworker and have had to avoid her since. My girlfriend and I are speaking again, and she still mentions almost every day how disgusted she is with these two events and how she will never be able to trust me again. I've done everything I could to apologize, from writing her essay-long apologies to doing tasks for her to buying her impossible to find tickets, but nothing is working. I have absolutely zero history of being disloyal or breaking her trust, but she makes me sound like I'm a supervillain, and a part of me wants to push back and get her to realize that some of her boundaries for me aren't healthy. I also don't want to risk her breaking up with me. I feel extremely trapped. I feel like her controlling behavior is getting worse and I can't wrap my head around how to even start a conversation on this topic without her blowing up on me. Comment. Don't bother with conversation. Just text her that you can't stay with someone so toxic, insecure, and controlling, that you suggest she get professional help before she dates anyone else, and to never contact you again. Then block her everywhere and get professional help yourself to learn to recognize toxic traits early. Jesus, is this for real? I didn't even read past the movie part. She seriously got pissed that you watched a movie that had nudity in it? Yeah, dumped her. Yesterday. I know you said you don't want to break up, but there are times when you really should, and this is one of those times. You need her permission to have work meetings with other women? Come on, dude. That's just insane. She's super controlling and she sounds abusive too. Unless you want this to be your life, you need to leave. It's gonna get worse, not better. Next story 2. I found husband on Tinder, and I am trying hard to forgive. Need guidance. My spouse and I technically married in a courthouse wedding during COVID and had a more formal in-person ceremony a year later. Between both weddings, we moved, I became depressed and distant, and he took a job that requires frequent travel away from home nearly 50% of the time. During this time he downloaded and paid for premium Tinder, and I found out about this after the second wedding. He was completely transparent with me, broke down crying with me, and evidence showed that he had stopped on his own without my intervention many months prior. I only found out because we were reviewing TV subscriptions and I saw the Tinder receipt. There were very few, rather uneventful messages. It did not seem like any conversations were deleted, nor did it seem he met up with anyone. I now have access to see everything on all online accounts, though I rarely check them because I don't believe surveillance truly fosters honesty. I don't have passwords, but he has offered them. When I asked why he did this, his explanation was roughly as follows: we were both depressed, stressed out, our relationship was struggling, and he used to be in an open relationship before this one where seeking attention outside of the relationship was normal. He felt he needed validation and often simply looked at who liked his Tinder profile through the premium subscription to get a boost in confidence. He doesn't know why he did this. Somehow he compartmentalized it. He eventually felt guilty, did not want to cheat, knows he loves me, and stopped. I feel like I am constantly on the lookout for evidence that says otherwise, and I have yet to find it. If we were dating and I found this out, I would not have married him, or I would at least have put pause on the wedding. We were married when it happened and I am trying to work through the problems. It's been about 8 months since I found out and over a year since he has stopped Tinder. I am trying hard to forgive, but I am still deeply hurt. I understand we were having a tough time, and I even understand how I was contributing to making him feel insecure and in need of a self-esteem boost. To be clear, he has not made me to feel this way. He has taken full responsibility. We have been doing couples therapy, he signed us up for a marriage therapy retreat thing, we have conversations basically whenever I want about it. I really feel like he is putting in the work. It's hard because it feels like everything on Reddit says to leave at the first sign of cheating, but I don't think I want to. I also want to stop hurting. Does anyone have any advice? Have you gone through anything similar? Comment. Maybe you won't get over it? In your post you listed all the reasons he did it but ended it with he doesn't know why he did it. He did it because finding outside validation was easier to him than putting in the work of talking to you about the issues at the time. The issue you're having is now that the line was crossed. Every time you start to have a downturn in the relationship, or even feel like it's a downturn, your first thought will be of him cheating. Let's try and weigh this up in a balanced way. While you were married, your husband downloaded a dating app and started to speak to other people. He cites the fact he was in an open relationship beforehand and being depressed as a reason for this. Neither are valid. Your relationship is not open, which he knows, and being oppressed is not an excuse for infidelity. Now, while what he did was very wrong and clearly hurt you greatly, he did not physically cheat on you, nor by the sounds of it did he say anything flirtatious to any other women. I am only assuming here. You didn't mention this in your post when mentioning his conversations to other Tinder women. While this doesn't pardon him, it does lessen the severity of what he did, in my opinion. He also seems to have gone to some lengths to make it up to you and make amends. In conclusion, he has clearly severely damaged your trust in him. This is totally valid for you to feel. If this trust has been damaged too much and you no longer feel like you can sustain a healthy relationship because of it, only you can answer that. Perhaps, if you aren't sure how you feel, a reasonable thing to do would be to see if your trust improves in him through the couples counseling. Don't listen to the PPL on Reddit, listen to yourself. What do you want? Your husband seems like he is genuinely sorry and trying to work things through. He is, according to you, putting in a lot of effort towards couples therapy and gaining back your trust. While it hurts, and it will for a while, are you ready to throw everything away for one issue? I mean, I get it, it's a big issue. However, you will have rough times in a marriage. He didn't physically cheat, he barely even messaged anyone based on your story. He was feeling lonely, unwanted, and stressed. That's not an excuse, but it gives you somewhere to start discussing. Therapy is a great step, and while I wouldn't automatically forgive him, the fact that he never met with anyone and the fact that he's trying hard to save the marriage, that's worth sticking around, I feel. At least for now.